How you going, everybody? So a couple of weeks ago I did a video on hard drives and the possibility of selling them. So I've actually started moving them. So I wanted to kind of expand that thought train a little bit and upload a kind of an updated video to that video. I will throw the video in the description so you can see what video I was referring to. I really hadn't started selling them until now. So like as in then, between then and now, I should say. So this is that video in relation to that. So have a watch and let me know what you think. All right, speak to you soon. How you going, everyone? Back again. Today we're going to talk hard drives, because hard drives are fun. No, they are. They really are. So let's do a little bit of an evolution, very quick evolution on hard drives. So you go from something like this. So that's your old IDE style connector. So they're a 40-pin connector on these, and they have had all different versions of these. 30-pin, they had the 50-pin for SCSI, and there was a whole other heap of proprietary ones that you couldn't access. You know, like server stuff had its own as well. Then you go across to your standard 1 terabyte, 3.5 inch, pretty basic sort of SATA. So that's probably led the path for probably a good 30 plus years, I reckon. So these you're talking 90s. I'll say 80s, but 80s really was in its infancy, maybe late 80s, and then in mainstream, not in your commercial applications. They've had a hard drive for years. I've seen a hard drive this big, which was 5 meg. So this one's 480 meg. So they kind of we'll get back to that after. That, and then like I say, these have probably been your mainstream for the past 30 plus years. It's quite crazy to think of something that's lasted that long, and you can still buy them and they still work fine. So they're just a bit slow for our current computers. Then you've got a 2.5 inch, which is what you'd normally see in like a laptop. You also see them in PlayStations and Xboxes of like the PS3, your Xbox One, that sort of era. So, sorry, your Xbox 360. Actually, they had a little cartridge, but inside the cartridge was one of these. And then in your, even in your later Xbox Ones and so on, actually ran these drives in them as well. All the way up to probably your X and your S series started actually changing over into solid state memory, which I think most of those are on board, or they might have. I believe the X has like a little hard drive like that in it. And then you evolve over to stuff like, which I believe was more of a Dell thing. I haven't seen them in many others, but you've got your MSATA. Then you've got your Apple ran their own versions of drives. I can't remember what they are, but they are Apple's own stuff. And then you go across to, obviously, SSD has been massive on the market as far as speed and reliability goes, which is just a SATA connection, but it's a high-speed SATA connection. But then we kind of found the limitations on those, and then we went to, I've moved them somewhere, and then we went over to your SATA SSD. So that was moving from this style to this style, which then can plug directly onto the board. So you pick up your faster lanes. It was probably about the same speed, to be honest. And then you go across to NVMe, and in NVMe you've got different versions of those too, because you started with, which actually looked like that still. So you've got, that is to the 2 notches at the top. So you've got that version has SATA SSD, and then it also has has an NVMe SSD. So it would, on one side, it could actually pick up the SATA lanes, and on the other side, it will actually pick up the NVMe lanes. So, which was a PCI Express hard drive. And then your NVMe, I think we're up to NVMe 5 now, and it's all speed. So it all comes down to speed. The first lot were, I think, 500 to 1,000 sort of megabytes a second, and now they're up to like 5, might even be 12,000, I think I've seen somewhere. So it's changed a little bit. Now the motto of all this we pulled lots of drives out when we had the shop, and even after the shop, I was buying and selling gaming computers and that. And generally, I'd either switch them out and put in, obviously, a nice fast, one of these, or one of these, or one of each. So you'd have one of these as a main drive for your operating system, and then you obviously, if you're kids with gaming, you want to have something like this, a nice 2 terabyte sort of thing on there, and plenty of storage, nice and fast, reliable, rather than having a big clunky one of these spinning in your ear. And some of the old ones make some really cool noises. So I've got hundreds of these literally in storage, because we were kind of scared of what we could do with them in regards to customer data, because customer data is a big issue with all this sort of stuff, with anything, if you're buying and selling in particular, and if you're repairing and you're getting stuck with stuff, which you will. If you're repairing stuff for customers, you're going to end up stuck with shelves, boxes, cabinets, garages full of stuff, because people just don't pick stuff up all the time. People sometimes just don't want them back. The amount of times you do a hard drive swap on something and it'd be like, can you just get rid of it for me? I'm never going to be able to do anything with it. And I'm a bit scared to take it home, put it in the cupboard, and it gets lost and I don't know where my data is. If you can safely get rid of it, then I'm happy for you to do it. So we kind of left it all packed in boxes and stored to make sure that it didn't get lost. And now I'm doing a search around, I'm finding out that some of these drives are actually getting good money. So especially stuff like your 1 terabytes, not that one, that's only 160 gig, but your 1 terabyte drives tending to get some good money. And to be honest, your 2s and your 3s, I've noticed, probably aren't getting a lot different. They're actually very marginal difference between, that's in the 3.5 inch. In these ones, now I've only been doing this for the last couple of weeks selling these, so it hasn't been long, but same with these. The prices are pretty comparable, which is basically anything from say $40 up to I think $120 one of them sold for, which was a 3 terabyte. I hadn't done many hours, so so you can actually get good money out of these. Now I do 100% say, please do your due diligence. Make sure that you wipe them. I'm using a program called Kill Drive or Kill Disk, which is good, and also another program I'm using is called HDD Sentinel. I did talk about this one a couple of weeks ago in another video, but I do recommend to use those to wipe your drives. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to jump onto eBay now, and we'll just bring up some prices on what some of them are worth. And in these, at the moment, SSDs, people are crying for them. So if you get a batch of these in, you could have a good lump sum of money on your hands there. So, and one of the things I did want to show is pretty cool. So you look at this at 500 meg, 2 terabyte. So that's how it's changed. All right, so in eBay now, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to start with, I'll check up a 3 terabyte Seagate, good drive Seagate, by the way. So here you can see, now what we'll do, we'll go to the side. Now, I'm obviously doing this in Australia, so do in your own region because they're all going to be different. If I go, I've got Australia selected, there you go. And a good place to start, I find, is sold. So let's have a look at sold, 3 terabyte sold. All right, so here, someone's got 2 3 terabytes and 1 2 terabyte, $90. That's a good deal. So that's a good honest deal. $120. So they're basically getting $40 each plus postage. That's not bad, or it's not quite $40 each, is it? So, but $30. Yeah, $30 each. That's not bad actually. That's the sort of thing that I'd kind of expect to sell them for. That sort of thing. So and then you've got, see, here we go. So $50. You got your postage as well. You got $10-15 in postage. $50, $23, $60. So you can kind of get the gist of where this is all going. I think a lot of this will come down to presentation. I've sold one of these for $80. So I think presentation is, no, that's not me. I didn't sell that. So I think presentation would be partly it. So you might get a little bit more, but look, at the end of the day, if you had a batch of them, you sold them for $30 each, not including postage. I think that's good. You're winning on that, especially if you're ripping them out of computers for free. So what are you going to do with them? Let's be honest here. So now if I go 2.5 HDD 1 terabyte. So this is this style of hard drive in a 1 terabyte. So once again, like I say, the prices don't vary much. The best part about these, but is your transport pricing comes down huge. Yeah, so imagine a DVD case. I can fit 2 of these in a DVD case. So, and I've been having people buy 2 at a time, which is working out really well for me. So, so there you go. So you've got 38, 35, 40. So in Australia, if you are selling these, it's about $9, $7 to $9 if you're buying it straight off eBay, as in the postage. If you've got obviously discounts through Australia Post, it's going to be cheaper, and you might have other third parties you do deals with. Now you're going to get a big variation in price when you just get someone just trying to sell off old gear that they just don't want. But you'll find with a lot of these bigger sellers, so obviously you got your Red PC, I don't know what that means, WebTech Systems, it's a tech store, and then you've got WebTech Systems again. So when you get those, they're going to probably sell them a lot more because they're given like a certified sort of view of a drive. It's not just a random sort of, and you can see like tested, 100% health. That one doesn't say anything. That one doesn't say anything, but that one's got a lot of jargon on it. So that basically says, I know what I'm talking about. So, and that's a server drive. So it's a little bit different. You can see by the caddy, and that's a SAS drive. So it's another type of drive again, that I don't actually have in this lot. So, yeah, so this kind of gives you an idea of what sort of prices you can actually get for them, which I'm actually quite surprised with what you can get for them. I didn't know they're actually worth anything. I was trying to work out how I was going to get rid of them. And once again, I wanted to try and make sure the data was safe. So what I'm doing is, even with the ones that I am going to throw out because they're dead, I am wiping them, whatever possibility I have. And if I can't wipe them at all, they're going to be destroyed. So what I'll do is I will pull them apart and destroy the platters inside of them, which is all that matters. You don't have to destroy the whole drive. You don't have to put them through a cruncher. You can, and there is places that do that, which some require that, depending on the type of industry they're in. But overall, as soon as you remove those platters, and if they're a multi-platter, as soon as you've removed them, they have to be in a line to keep that data secure, as in for them to be able to read the data. So once you remove the platters, it's all over anyway. And then if you damage the platters, then there is somebody who's rebuilt a platter, smash platter. So if you're going to do it, smash a few of them at the same time and throw them all away together, or put them through some sort of shredder, or hit them with a hammer, something to destroy them, and then just, throw them out bit by bit. But be careful, because some of them have some pretty bad caustic stuff in them. So just be careful when you're destroying hard drives. And then when you go to stuff like your, I think it's going to be 2.5 SSD, and then I'll go 2 terabyte, which kind of blew my socks off when I was starting to look at some of this stuff, because some of them, we want to go, has it got used, and we want Australia, and we want sold. So look at some of these, like A50 Pro, $150, $140, $170. This is a professional reseller. You can tell, they're not messing around. They've put up exactly what the details of the machine, of the drive is. Before you even look at it, there's no pretty pictures. It's just straight to the point. There you go. So they know what they're doing. They're doing it properly. And they go 190. And even as high as 350 for some of them. So 850 Pro and 870 Evo. I would have thought the Pro would have got more than the Evo, 96%. Maybe that's why. So yeah, I'm sure, but I could be wrong. But this just kind of gives you a bit of a highlight into what's possible if you are in the industry of pulling systems apart. I am shocked at the price that these are going for. And I'm seeing it happen. I'm selling them. So it's I haven't sold any SSDs yet. I don't have a lot of SSDs, and I'm kind of keeping them for builds, because you know, 2 terabyte, perfect for a gaming system, and I want to do some gaming systems in the next few months, so I'll keep the ones I do have, I'll keep for that. But as far as spinny drives, I'm not putting any more spinny drives into anything. They're done. And these, same goes with all these sort of ones. I don't have a huge amount of these either, so I'll keep them for main drive. So because anything from like a 250 gig and up, I wouldn't go 128. Anything 128 or lower, just get rid of those. But as far as 250 gig drive and more, great for a startup drive. Yeah, so look, I just wanted to kind of do a bit of a follow-up that, yeah, go for it, and kind of give a bit of a, you know, overall picture of what are the different technologies in drives. There is a few more others, but at the end of the day, that's the majority you're going to see out in the wild sort of thing, especially if you're just pulling computers apart, just standard domestic computers, and basic, you know, office computers. These are the sort of things you're going to find in them. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm hoping it's not too repetitive from having the hard drive video the other day, but I wanted to touch a little bit more on it. So, because I think there is a really good market there to be able to break into for people that are looking to break into this industry. And then what I'll do is I'll chuck up a link for KillDisk. There's no money on these. They're all free software. So there's no affiliates or anything, and there's no affiliate links attached. It literally is, I don't care if you look at them and just go and type it into the search and find it yourself. I'm just going to put the direct link up anyway. So KillDisk is to erase your drives. HD Sentinel will give you this picture here. Not that particular picture. That's a different. So what's that? Crystal Drive. Is that Crystal Drive? I think it's Crystal Drive, isn't it? Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, Crystal Disk. There you go. So Crystal Disk is the other one you can use, or HDD Sentinel, to be able to get a picture of what that drive's like. So yeah. Have a look, enjoy, make some money. Why not? It's probably free, let's be honest. You probably get them for nothing and they're free. So if you get them for anything, it wouldn't be much. So enjoy. I hope the video wasn't too long. I do apologize if it was. And I'll see you tomorrow for another one. Ta-ta.